Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. What is it that you truly want? Not what society tells you to want, not what your parents or friends think you should want, but what you deeply, truly desire in the depths of your soul. Maybe it's freedom to live life on your own terms. Maybe it's a deeper connection, a career that lights you up, a level of health and vitality that makes you unstoppable. Whatever it is, let's get one thing straight, it's possible. Not someday, not for someone else, it's possible for you. But let me tell you something else, it's not going to fall into your lap. It's not going to show up just because you wish for it. You're going to have to fight for it. And the thing standing in your way right now is fear. Fear. It's the invisible wall between where you are and where you want to be. It's that voice in your head that says, what if I fail? What if I'm not enough? What if they laugh at me? What if I lose everything? And let me tell you, that voice, it's lying. That voice is nothing more than a survival mechanism, a relic from the days when stepping out of your comfort zone meant getting eaten by a tiger. But today, stepping out of your comfort zone isn't about survival, it's about transformation. It's about growth. It's about becoming the person you were meant to be. Here's the truth, everything you've ever wanted is sitting on the other side of fear. Think about that for a second. On the other side of fear is your dream life. On the other side of fear is the version of you who doesn't just dream, but does. The version of you who steps into challenges, who rises above limitations, who looks fear in the face and says, I'm coming through anyway. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a signal. It's telling you where the edge of your growth is. When you feel fear, that's not the time to pull back, it's the time to push forward. Fear is the doorway to everything you've been searching for. But most people never even reach the door. They let fear stop them before they even begin. They let the idea of failure, the discomfort of uncertainty, paralyze them. And as a result, they stay stuck. They live in a cage of their own making, locked in by fear, and they never realize that the key has been in their pocket all along. But you're different. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. You wouldn't be listening to this if you didn't already have a fire inside of you, a hunger for more. You know, deep down, that you were made for something greater. And let me tell you, that hunger you feel, that's the universe calling you to step up. It's telling you that you're capable of more than you've ever imagined. But to answer that call, you've got to break through the fear. You've got to take that step into the unknown, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's terrifying. Because the life you want, the person you want to become, is waiting for you on the other side. Now, I want you to think about a time in your life when you felt fear and acted anyway. Maybe it was applying for that job, starting that relationship, or making that speech when your palms were sweating and your heart was pounding. And what happened? You didn't just survive, you grew. You became stronger, more confident, more capable. That's what happens every time you face your fear. You expand. You move closer to the person you're meant to be. The problem is, we live in a world that trains us to avoid fear. We're told to play it safe, to stick to what's comfortable, to avoid failure at all costs. But let me tell you something, comfort is the enemy of growth. If you stay in your comfort zone, you might feel safe, but you'll never feel alive. You'll never experience the fullness of what life has to offer. You'll never know what you're truly capable of. The greatest achievers in the world, the people who inspire us, who change the game, who leave a legacy, they didn't get there by avoiding fear. They got there by leaning into it. Think about it. Every great invention, every breakthrough, every act of courage, none of it happened in the comfort zone. It happened because someone was willing to step into the unknown, to risk failure, to face their fears head on. But here's the good news, courage isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you take a step in the face of fear, no matter how small, you're building your courage muscle. And over time, what once seemed impossible becomes your new normal. What once terrified you becomes second nature. That's how growth works. So let me ask you, what are you afraid of right now? What's the thing you've been putting off because it scares you? Maybe it's having that difficult conversation, starting that business, or going after that dream you've been carrying in your heart for years. Whatever it is, I want you to imagine what your life could look like if you didn't let fear stop you. Picture it. See yourself on the other side of fear. What does it feel like? What does it look like? That vision you're holding right now, that's your destiny. And the only thing standing between you and that vision is the courage to take the first step. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It won't be. Fear doesn't go away overnight. It's going to show up again and again, trying to pull you back into your comfort zone. But every time it does, you have a choice. You can let it stop you, or you can use it as fuel. You can let it paralyze you, or you can let it propel you forward. And let me tell you, the moment you start using fear as a guide instead of a roadblock, your life will change forever. Because here's the thing, fear is never as big as we think it is. Most of the time, the things we're afraid of are just illusions, stories we've made up in our minds. What if they judge me? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? Let me tell you something, those what ifs are just that. They're not real. The only thing that's real is the action you take right now in this moment. And every time you take action, every time you face your fear, you prove to yourself that you're bigger than it. You prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. I want you to commit to something right now. Commit to taking one action today that scares you, just one. It doesn't have to be big. It could be making that phone call, sending that email, or taking the first step toward your dream. Whatever it is, do it, because action is the antidote to fear. Action is what turns your dreams into reality. Action is what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And remember this, you are not alone. Every single person who has ever achieved greatness has faced fear. Every single one of them has doubted themselves at some point. But they didn't let that stop them. And neither should you. Because the world needs your gifts. The world needs your courage, your vision, your willingness to step up and go after what you want. You have no idea who you might inspire, who you might impact just by being brave enough to face your fears and live your truth. Fear is a universal experience. Everyone feels it, but not everyone knows how to harness it. You see, most people let fear become a barrier. They let it whisper lies in their ears, telling them they're not enough, they're not ready, or they don't have what it takes. But here's the truth, fear is not meant to stop you. Fear is meant to shape you, refine you, and prepare you for what's next. It's like resistance in the gym. If you avoid it, you'll never grow. But if you lean into it, you'll build the strength to break through anything. Think about it, every hero in history has faced their fears. Every single one. From the explorers who ventured into the unknown to the leaders who stood up for change, to the everyday people who decided they would no longer settle for less than they deserved. They all felt fear, but they acted anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's feeling the fear and choosing to act in spite of it. So what about you? Are you going to let fear keep you small? Or are you going to use it to launch yourself into greatness? Because here's what I know about you, you're capable of more than you can even imagine right now. You have strengths, talents, and potential inside you that you haven't even tapped into yet. But you'll never access them as long as you're hiding in the comfort zone. You've got to step out. You've got to take risks. You've got to embrace the fear and do it anyway. I want you to understand something profound. The thing you fear most is often the exact thing you need to do to change your life. Fear is a map. It's pointing you to the areas where you need to grow. It's pointing you to the opportunities that will stretch you, challenge you, and transform you into the person you're meant to become. If you're afraid of public speaking, maybe it's because your voice is meant to be heard. If you're afraid of starting that business, maybe it's because that's where your freedom lies. If you're afraid of opening your heart to love, maybe it's because that's where your greatest joy is waiting. But here's the kicker, you don't have to wait until you feel ready. Let me let you in on a little secret. Nobody ever feels 100% ready to take the leap. Readiness is a myth. The people who achieve extraordinary things in life aren't the ones who wait until they feel ready. They're the ones who act despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the uncertainty. They know that clarity comes from action, not the other way around. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for the fear to go away. It won't. The fear will always be there, but it doesn't have to control you. You can feel it and move forward anyway. You can take that first step and then the next and then the next. And with each step, the fear gets smaller and you get stronger. Let me tell you something else about fear. It's a storyteller. It loves to create worst case scenarios in your mind. It tells you if you try, you'll fail. If you fail, you'll be embarrassed. If you're embarrassed, you'll lose everything. But here's the truth. Most of those stories are fiction. They're not real. They're just your mind trying to protect you from discomfort. But growth is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. And that's okay. Because discomfort is the price you pay for a life of meaning and fulfillment. It's the price you pay for greatness. And when you're willing to get uncomfortable, when you're willing to embrace the uncertainty, you'll discover that you're capable of handling so much more than you thought. Think about the people you admire most in the world. Do you think they got to where they are by avoiding discomfort? Of course not. They faced it, they embraced it, they let it shape them, and now they're living proof of what's possible when you don't let fear hold you back. Let's get practical for a moment. How do you actually overcome fear? How do you move through it instead of letting it paralyze you? It starts with awareness. You have to recognize when fear is showing up in your life. Sometimes it's obvious, it's that knot in your stomach, that voice in your head saying, don't do it, but sometimes fear is sneaky. It disguises itself as procrastination, perfectionism, or excuses. I'll do it tomorrow, I'm not ready yet, I don't have the resources, those are all just fear in disguise. Once you've identified the fear, the next step is to reframe it. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, see it as a green light. Fear means you're about to grow. Fear means you're on the verge of a breakthrough. Fear means you're doing something that matters. And then you take action. That's the most important part. You don't have to conquer the fear all at once. You just have to take one small step. Maybe it's making that phone call. Maybe it's signing up for that class. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting. Whatever it is, just take the step. Action is the antidote to fear. It's what breaks the cycle of overthinking and turns your intentions into results. Now let's talk about failure. Because I know that's one of the biggest fears people have. What if I fail? What if I try and it doesn't work out? Here's what I want you to understand. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Nobody achieves anything great without failing along the way. Failure is how you learn. It's how you grow. It's how you get better. So don't be afraid of failure. Be afraid of never trying. Be afraid of getting to the end of your life and wondering, what if? Be afraid of settling for less than you're capable of. Because the pain of failure is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts a lifetime. And remember, you are stronger than you think. You are braver than you know. You have survived every challenge you've faced so far. And you will survive this too. In fact, you won't just survive, you'll thrive. You'll come out on the other side stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. Let me leave you with this: life is short. We don't get a second chance at this. Every moment you spend letting fear control you is a moment you'll never get back. Don't waste another second living small. Don't waste another second hiding from your potential. You are made for more. You are made to shine. You are made to live a life of purpose, passion, and fulfillment. And that life, it's waiting for you. It's sitting on the other side of fear, calling your name. All you have to do is take that first step. So what are you waiting for? Step into your power. Step into your greatness. Step into the life you were meant to live. Because everything you've ever wanted is sitting on the other side of fear. And it's time to go get it. So here we are, standing at the edge of a decision. And I have one final question for you. What will you choose? Will you choose to stay where it's safe, comfortable, and familiar? Or will you choose to break free, to leap into the unknown, to chase the life that's waiting for you on the other side of fear? Because here's the truth, this is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when the conditions feel perfect right now. This is the moment where you decide who you're going to be. This is the moment where you stop letting fear dictate your life and start taking control. You've got everything you need inside you, the strength, the courage, the determination, it's all there. And yes, fear will still show up. It always does. But from now on, you're going to see it for what it is, a sign that you're growing, a signal that you're heading in the right direction. Fear is no longer your barrier. Fear is your breakthrough. So go out there and take that step. Do the thing that scares you, because on the other side of that fear is the life you've been dreaming of. It's the version of you who's unstoppable, who's alive, who's fully owning their potential. This is your time. Don't let fear hold you back any longer. Stand tall, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, I'm ready. I'm ready to face my fears. I'm ready to take control. I'm ready to claim the life I deserve. Because everything you've ever wanted is sitting on the other side of fear. And now it's yours for the taking. So go get it.